Let's go for a recovery run. Mile 1, 9:31. Mile 2, 8:45. Mile 3, 8:20. Mile 4, 9:45. Mile 5, 9:37. Mile 6, 9:06. I love showing the mile splits on the recovery runs. We're an entire family of Boston qualifiers, and all 4 of us are training for marathons in at around 3 hours as a goal marathon time finish. Today I'm going to talk about all the key elements and what it takes to run a 3-hour marathon. All right, let's go. Mile 7, 9:05. Evan, what's the best part of marathon training?
Crushing 3-hour marathon.
Okay, well, what's the second best part?
Going on easy runs on recovery days.
All right, mile 8 and 8:55. Yeah, it is the best part, huh, Evan? Going on easy runs and enjoying each other's company. I love it too. And it's a critical part of crushing those 3-hour marathons. Definitely have to get your easy running in and recover from all those really tough workouts that you're going to have to do in order to run 6:51 per mile in a marathon. And I'm not going to talk about key workouts that lead to a really good marathon time or 3-hour marathon. I'm a true believer that a lot of different types of programs, they all lead to the same destination. They can all work. And although some marathon programs are better for certain people than others are, for example, Evan and I, we lack a little bit of speed, so going high mileage and focusing more on strength is more advantageous of a marathon training program for us. Instead, today I'm going to talk about non-program specific aspects that lead to good marathon times. A giant reason why a lot of people find the 3-hour barrier so difficult to overcome is the fact that the GPS lies. Every time you take a 90-degree turn during your run, your GPS tracking will lay down breadcrumbs that travel at a larger arc, and it inflates your pace and your distance. So in order to run at a pace of 6:51 per mile during the marathon, you have to train at around 6:46 per mile on your training runs in order to hit marathon pace. And then don't get sucked in. Just because you trained at 6:46 doesn't mean you should go to the marathon and race the first 10 miles at 6:46. It means that you need to go to the marathon and race the first 15 to 18 miles at 6:51. Mile 9, 8:46. Done. Another way that's helped us to get past that 3-hour barrier is keeping our easy runs really easy and making our hard runs really challenging and hard. Spending a lot of time at marathon pace gives a lot of confidence. However, it's not as effective as spending more time at those high intensity paces at lactate threshold and VO2 max. So as tempting as it is to spend most of your time running at your marathon pace, try not to fall into that trap and run around it. Run really fast to develop your fitness, or run really slow to help with the recovery process. Dialing in the weekly volume and the weekly average pace is another way that helped us to all get over that 3-hour hump. Tanda is a very good algorithm that will help you evaluate whether your average weekly pace and average weekly mileage is setting you up right for your marathon goal. It's based on the idea that with slower average weekly pace, you need higher weekly volume in order to hit a goal. The other side of the coin is true as well. With higher average pace, you need less weekly volume in order to hit that same goal. So just as a point of reference, at an average weekly volume of 75 miles per week, you need to be at around 8 minutes per mile for all of the runs averaged together during that week. And remember, that's 75 miles per week, not at your peak week, but for all the weeks on average. It may seem a little indirect, but staying injury-free and healthy is another really giant way to help break that 3-hour barrier. And staying healthy doesn't necessarily mean just eating and sleeping right, but it also means getting stronger. So incorporating strength training, doing your core routine, incorporating mobility work before and after runs, and doing plyometric drills not only make you a stronger runner, but also helps to stabilize your body because of all the imbalances that come from the repetition of running long distance. And finally, there are a few things that you can do on race day that'll help you reach your sub 3 hour goal. For example, hydrating is giant. It might not influence the first half of the marathon, but from mile 15, you'll definitely feel the difference. I found that in most typical race situations, hydrating at aid stations is not enough. Running 6:51 per mile at a relatively high aerobic pace for most people for 26.2 miles is a big ask. And most will lose a lot of fluids for the first 2/3 of the marathon. And those fluids will have to be replenished, or you will become severely dehydrated and you'll lose any ability to finish the last 10 miles of the race at any decent pace at all. I know the pros look really cool in their sleek kits and running barehanded, but they have 6 to 8 personal hydration tables where they leave a bottle of hydration and other supplemental energy sources at each of the table for their own personal use. And that ends up being a lot of hydration that they have access to. Unfortunately, we only have aid stations on race courses that are available to the public. And as we're speeding by, we're only able to grab 1 or 2 cups. And each of those cups barely have any hydration in them. So it's best to carry your own hydration. Carrying a bottle or a flask from the start will allow you to consistently sip on your hydration, and it'll allow you to go through aid stations without zigzagging so that you can maintain on the shortest line of the course for most of the race. For me and the kids, carrying hydration is a game changer. It's probably been the best way that we've been able to influence positive change in our race outcomes. You're welcome. And finally, you've done all that preparation. Now go out on race day and make sure you negative split that race. Go out easy. Don't go any faster than 6:50 per mile for the first 10 to 15 miles before you start tightening the screws. Remember, the saying is true, the race starts with 10K to go. So save some and allow yourself the ability to race that final 10K as hard as you can. And if you do all these things, you'll be crossing that finish line in just under 3 hours. Let's go. Hey, thanks so much to our lovely Patreon team. We can't do it without you. Much love. Hey, do me a favor. You can follow me on Strava right here and give us a follow on Instagram for your daily dose of running motivation. Thanks so much for joining me on this talk on how to break that 3 hour barrier in the marathon. It's time for me to go home and be productive. I hope you have a great day and a meaningful run. We'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye now.